Hello.
Good evening, everyone. Just a reminder, please, to make sure that your mobile phones are muted or on vibrate. Please also make sure that every device is muted. And please make sure when you speak, you use a microphone so that our transcribers will be able to pick it up.
Hi, Trotty. You must be, leaving aside the disappointment of today, if you can, and just reflecting on the campaign as a whole, you've obviously sent a strong message about what this team can do. What are you most pleased about in terms of how you've performed?
There are obviously a few things. I think we arrived on the shores and pretty ambitious. And if you'd said we won 4 games, we probably would have taken it, especially after losing the first game against Bangladesh, which we probably would have seen as a sort of must-win or a very much winnable game. So after that, I'd certainly have taken it. But it's still a case of sitting here today thinking there's a few other games that we left out there that we could have perhaps won. So as a coach and as a member of the team, we're disappointed with that. But you can't have everything. You can't win always. But I see some good improvement. I see a lot of confidence in players and their ability. I had confidence in the players, but sometimes until somebody does it or they do it themselves, you're never quite sure. So that's always a challenge for a developing team or a developing player or nation until they get across the line. And I've said numerous times before the tournament that we just need to win a couple of games to get that belief and the buzz around the side and sort of a spring in the step, because there have been so many times we'd got so close and found a way, just to lose. So I'm pleased in that we've sort of won games and found ways to win games. Normally with the side you'd say bowling would be the strength, so you'd try and put the pressure on the bowlers and bowl last, but to be able to knock off targets in pretty comfortable fashion and responsible fashion, certainly shows that we're not sort of one way inclined to win cricket games. We can win in various ways.
Jonathan, obviously you've taken significant steps here in these last few weeks. What would you like to see for Afghanistan to assist and enhance their growth as a cricket team?
I think it's a case of a lot of development and nurturing of the talent, because we see the talent, the likes of players who've sort of stepped up on this tournament. A guy like Azmat today, played very responsible, has batted at number 5 now for I think 8 games or 7 games, and just looked like he's very assured and calm, which is fantastic for such a young lad. So it's about the development and the nurturing and the investment in the youth players coming through. I said to a lot of the players, there's players in the squad who haven't played, but they've been here learning for a month and a bit. And I was speaking to them the other day. We had training yesterday. I said, it's your job now to go back, and when you had a training camp in Kabul or in Afghanistan, it's your job to then pass on what you've learned here at this World Cup, watching players in the nets or watching games, other players, world-class players. And that's how the game develops and grows. When we go on a tour to Sri Lanka, there's sort of 4 or 5 test venues. So there's teams that we're competing with that have got such a better infrastructure and first-class system of develop, because they've been playing for much longer. It's only a natural progression, but we're still able to mix with them and beat them in times. So, guys are really proud, and I'm really proud of the players.
Jonathan, why do you think it is that South Africa seem to be a more vulnerable team when they're batting second?
Oh, look, I don't want to comment on other sides. I think it's just a case that this win would probably give them a lot of confidence going forward, able to play on a wicket that was assisting a bit of spin. South Africans generally, quite used to playing, pace bowling, and so be very comfortable with that. So they would have taken a lot of confidence, knocking off those runs and going into the semi-finals, obviously. So I think it's just accepting the pressure and knowing and having clarity in how you're going to go about, knocking off, or how you're going to score against the opposition. I couldn't pinpoint us. I don't want to, make any suggestions, but obviously they're a fantastic side, and I wish them all the best.
Jonathan, a couple of things. What do you think will be the next step in progression for your team? And do you think it'll be easier to, convince bigger nations to play you going forward?
I think that the next progression is to have more of a squad with regards to a bit more players. We've seen Noor come in or Faisal Faruqi come in. And so it's for the first time really been able to sort of select a side depending on the conditions. Whereas before you'd normally have 11 and, if you had one injury you'd sort of... But you're seeing now that the emergence of the players, experience they're gaining in franchise cricket and, becoming, very, very good players. So there's certainly a bigger pool, I think, than in the past to be able to select from, or certainly experienced players or well-known names, to be able to call upon, and like Naveen coming in and sort of playing ODI cricket, and we saw, the impact he very nearly got us, a win against Australia with all the wickets in the new ball. So, the future's bright. It's just our job as a side and us as managers and coaches to make sure we nurture that and make sure that we're going in the right direction.
Hi, Jonathan. You mentioned that the players, that the things that they've learned here from this experience, you'd like them to sort of take that back. What are some of the learnings that they took from some of the games they played and some of the teams that they played?
Well, I think, when you have the ability to have different, for bowling, for instance, bowling in the nets, we've got a few guys who haven't played that have been bowling in the nets, and watching and learning exactly how important it is that you know where you're going to bowl the ball line when you bowl the stumps, the difference to a little bit of width here in the subcontinent, the ball disappears, the ball flies. You learn quickly, and if you don't, you get hurt. How important it is to have variations, changes of pace. We see all world-class bowlers have different variations because that makes them, very unpredictable to the opposition. So develop those skills. And for the batting, you see all the players boundary options as well, because up until over 40, there's only ever maximum four players out. There's always a boundary option somewhere. So how can we make sure that you can increase that, or your scoring options? So, for example, a guy like Rahmat Shah's come into the side and I thought played really well, and he's expressed himself and developed a few different shots and able to manipulate the ball into different areas that perhaps he wasn't able to previously, which has made, hasn't allowed the pressure to grow on him as perhaps in the past. So little things like that, not major things, but little things that enable players to play better for longer.
You mentioned Azmat, and he's had a pretty good World Cup, with bat and ball. Could you maybe just talk a little bit about, kind of how you've seen him develop, but also in terms of the depth, like how easy or difficult is it to get players and to kind of find sort of raw talent that you can then nurture?
Well, there's plenty of raw talent, but it's a case with a guy like Azmat, very ambitious, but also works incredibly hard, good work ethic. And so, and as a coach, when that's already there, that makes the job a lot easier. For Azmat, I've obviously seen him for a year and 3 months, 4 months, and I've always been amazed at how he can time the ball. We saw the other night, second, third ball, he hit Mitchell Stark over his head, or over mid-off even for 6. Same thing today, over mid-off. And very rarely do you see players who are able to time the ball and the sound the ball makes when it comes off his bat. Very special talent, and I think hopefully will only develop and become a fantastic player for Afghanistan. And I'm interested to watch the IPL auction when his name comes up.
Jonathan, you have a smile on your face now, and throughout talking about your players, you can see a smile starting. What does that tell us about what sort of bunch of guys are they to be around?
Real good bunch of guys. I think they very proud, very, very proud of representing their side. And I enjoy that. I like that when you're proud of who you are and what you're sort of representing with regards to the challenges to be able to become a cricket player, and perhaps personal challenges in the past, and able to put that to a side and for a common goal. There've been times there's been tough testing times for sure, but these 4 wins in this World Cup, the joy on their face, beating Pakistan for the first time, that makes everything worthwhile. And you know, so that's really a moment I won't forget, along with a lot of the other guys as well.
Hi, Jonathan.
Hi there.
Sorry if you I don't know if you have answered this before, but in the next cycle, not many ODIs are there in the offing. Where does the team go from here in terms of ODIs and maybe Test cricket? Because yesterday the captain said that he would love to play more of the longer format and 50 overs. So your talk on that, and any word that you've had in this journey?
I think this series is in the the FTP, and just waiting for confirmation on those. But there certainly is Test matches, I think, and a few ODIs and T20. So there is the ambition to grow all three formats of the game. So that's exciting, and I think that's brilliant that they're able to play against other nations in the longer format of the game, and all the purest form, as some people would say. But that's always a work in progress. So exciting times ahead. Cheers. Cheers. Thank you.